what's up, guys? Welcome to a special, real special little DC and RC where I'm going to be joined by two athletes. Guys, you know, if you've watched the show, that I can be a tad bit messy. And the best way to be messy is to bring two dudes on the show that are fighting each other. So I would like to welcome in, the former interim lightweight champion of the world, Dustin the Diamond Poirier from Lafayette, Louisiana. And from somewhere beautiful in Tennessee, we'd like to welcome in Michael Chandler. Boys, how you doing this afternoon?
Good. Thanks for having us, man.
Good.
You know, the
What's
one
up,
thing
DC?
I don't understand, fellas, is that – what's up, boys? What I don't understand, fellas, is that you guys both have been on – you guys have both hosted this show. You guys have both done tremendous numbers with us, but you can't seem to get on the same page. So I ask you, why?
You got a question for one of us in particular, or are we just going to both start talking over each other? I'll start. I don't know. That's what everybody wants to say. That's what everybody wants to see. Obviously, I would love to hear Dustin's aspect on it, Dustin's side point of view. But when it comes down to who Dustin Poirier is, he's a consummate professional. He's fought for the UFC title multiple times and interim titles multiple times. He's been in the UFC for forever. So, he's been the mainstay, and I've been the guy who's been, quietly watching him from outside the organization for a long time. And I think he and I have, knew we were going to end up in this path eventually. And now here we are on your show. So November 12th, we get to do it.
Dustin.
Yo. Hey, look.
What is it about Michael Chandler? What is it about Michael Chandler?
Listen, DC, and listen, Mike. I have always, if you ask anyone who knows me or anyone who's heard me speak about Mike, I've always, I've been watching the guy fight for a long time. He's fought a lot of great guys. I've always had praise for him. He's done some great things. But it's exactly the whole thing with me. And it's not like I'm going into this fight with a personal vendetta for the guy. But this is just it. The way he answered that question is not who he was a few interviews ago with Ariel Helwani, or it's not who he was when the mic's in front of him in the octagon. He was a different guy whenever we sat next to each other in Abu Dhabi and spoke. It's just that's what it is.
That's true.
So you think he's fake a little bit, Dustin? You think that Michael Chandler has two faces?
I don't know. You said that. I didn't say that. I don't know the guy personally. He might be a great guy. But what I do know is that when he's telling Ariel Helwani, when I think of lightweight fighters, I don't even think of Dustin Poirier. And then he tells you when you ask him a question, Dustin has been a mainstay in the UFC. That back and forth stuff, that's just obvious to me. So it doesn't matter. November 12th, look, I wish it was 5 rounds. We're going to throw hands for 3 rounds and we'll settle it.
Hey, can I interject
Mike.
Here? Yes.
Please.
Go ahead, Mike.
Interviews and life is all about timing. Okay. At the time of the Ariel Helwani interview, Dustin, you've had a phenomenal career. You're talking about you don't know how long you want to do it anymore. You're talking about I don't know if I'm going to fight at 170. You're talking about fighting Nate Diaz, which is no longer on the path of fighting 155. So yes, I do think in that moment when I was thinking about the lightweight division, you weren't one of the guys who was necessarily on the radar, because what am I going to do? Add insult to injury to a guy who's talking about maybe never fighting again? We have a lot of mutual friends, so it's that.
Hey.
And the guy that talked to you in Abu Dhabi in the stands, you and I in the stands before weigh-ins, we had all of that. And then that Dustin Poirier went on record on the microphone after the fight and said, if the UFC wants me to fight Michael Chandler, I'd just as soon go sell hot sauce. So you want to have a ton of praise for me, but then also you would rather sell hot sauce.
Yeah, but I never discredited what you've done. I just said I want to see the guy earn his stripes in the UFC, and you've done that now. So that's why you're fighting me November 12th. But also, Mike, whenever you're talking about me wanting to fight at 170, and I saw in another interview you said this guy wants to fight at 170. What that means is he's at the end of his career. Bro, whenever all these fights, we're both businessmen at the end of the day. When all these fights were on the table, were you not asking to fight Conor? Were you not asking to fight Nate at whatever weight?
I was not asking to fight Nate. No, Nate and I got into it on Twitter or whatnot. But yes, no, you are right. You're right there. You're right there. The lightweight
it's all
division,
good.
the welterweight. No, of course, brother. Yeah, hey man, it's part of it. Yes, you and I. It is funny because our first interaction, me and you,
was at a Bellator event, dude? And it was great.
Bellator
it was great.
Event. Yeah, I know. And this is the funny thing that I seriously feel like we keep now it's all going on record like we hate each other, and it doesn't matter. We don't need to hate each other to go in there November 12th and look like we hate each other and try to fight each other.
Hey, I don't hate anybody. I don't hate anybody.
Hold on.
But what I'm gonna do?
Dustin, Mike, all this kumbaya. Hey, we don't have to hate each other. But guys, one second. There's a video floating. Look, let's watch this video real quick. I mean, this does not seem like two guys that don't necessarily hate each other, because the reality is this. You two are now at a public event, getting after each other, having to be separated. This is before you are even scheduled to fight, fellas. You boys are trying to get at each other in the middle of an event. This don't look like two dudes that have no personal issues.
No, Mike was very professional there. He kept it moving. But that was the first time I seen him in person since Abu Dhabi, and since he went on record saying all this stuff. So when I saw him, I wanted to tell him what I thought about him. Of course, I can tweet it and do it in interviews, but I don't do that type of stuff. I'd rather tell him when I see him. That's what that was.
Like a man, you want to tell Michael Chandler to his face. But here's the deal. It seems like what's going on here is that you two, in the disregard for what the other has been in the position, is why the issue is. Because to me, it seems like when you said you would rather sell hot sauce, DP, you were riding real hot, and you didn't have no time for Michael Chandler. But then when Michael Chandler's riding hot, now he's acting like there's no time for Dustin Poirier. It was his first fight in the organization that I fought in 28 times. It was his first fight in the company. But DP, let me ask you a question, DP. But there's still value, right? He goes and he fights in the way that he did. So there is a little bit of hype to him. I get it. You were just beating Conor McGregor, so you had got the biggest win. But so I understand a little bit. But does Mike not have a little bit of a reason to be upset when he hears that, Dustin?
He can feel however he wants to feel. This is fighting. I don't care.
It's true.
Mike,
I think that's where we're at. I think we both
Chandler.
can feel what I know we can both sit here and feel the way that we want to feel, because it is fighting, and at the end of it, the road ends making weight on November 11th, and then fighting on November 12th at Madison Square Garden. So man, like Dustin, I do think in order for us to put on our best training camps, in order for us to go out there and put on the best show, it doesn't need to be made personal for us to go out there and put on a show. Have we had our misunderstandings? Have we, exchanged some words now? Absolutely. But, the truth remains the same. We got to go out there and fight, and it's going to be fun.
DC, I bet
this morning when you woke up, the last thing you thought you'd be playing Dr. Phil on ESPN today.
Hey, no, Dustin, let me tell you something. You know me.
He loves it.
Hey, Dustin,
DC
you know I'm messy.
It,
you know I'm messy, Dustin. You know I'm messy. You know I'm the person that sits on the porch in Louisiana just telling the kids to do all kind of crazy stuff. So I love this. I live for this. But let me ask you this, Poirier. I got to ask you this. I got to know. Poirier, Michael Chandler, NCAA All-American. Michael Chandler also, though, is willing to go in there and stand with anybody. Does Michael Chandler stand with you on November in Madison Square Garden, or does Michael Chandler turn back to that wrestler, Dustin Poirier? Because I understand the power that you possess in your hands.
As does he, DC. Have you seen some of this guy's knockouts? Look, nobody knows that but Michael Chandler. We're going to find out November 12th.
Chandler, are you willing to stand with this dude? Are you willing to go in there, Chandler, and show the Iron Mike Chandler, the super athlete, explosive? Can Dustin Poirier stand in front of you, or does Dustin Poirier start shooting for shots?
Man, I can tell you this, man. The dude's got a chin on him. He's a long, rangy southpaw, punches and bunches. Great with his footwork and great with his defense. I've fought people in his camp before, so I'm sure they're talking about that. With Dustin, like as he said, 28 fights in the UFC. I've got a lot of Dustin Poirier, fans / hey, I've watched this guy forever. So we're two guys who have been in this game for a very long time. Last fight was last fight, and this fight is going to be something brand new. I think Dustin can stand with me. I do think he's got a granite chin. I do think he throws punches in bunches. I do think that, you get caught with a Dustin Poirier 4-ounce glove, you're probably going out. So I'm going to be on my P's and Q's. I like to mix it up. I like to keep we'll have a good game plan. We've already formulated it. And, may the best man win. This is a fight that, I'd be lying if I said it didn't scare me, but that's what excites me. Every time we step in the octagon, it's a scary opportunity, and that's what wakes me up early in the morning.
And Mike, can I ask you a question? So you and
Sure.
Dustin, and as I said, it's rooted in a disregard for what the person's done. DP has been away for a year now. You, after that massive knockout of Tony Ferguson, are riding the wave again. So why now? Why Dustin Poirier now? Because I know as a fight fan, I love it. I've always loved the thought of you two fighting. But why now? Why now do you choose to fight Dustin Poirier when you're the guy that is going in the right direction right now?
Well, I think we both chose. I mean, at some point, yeah. I mean, there's guys out there who are constantly looking at what's the best way to climb to the next rung in order to get me to a UFC title or make me the most money or get on a huge platform. When you look at the lightweight division, a lot of guys are booked up. Obviously, Connor's doesn't look like he's coming back anytime soon. Dariush is booked up. Obviously, Islam and Charles are fighting. Me and DP are both sitting there inside the top 5. He and I have talked about fighting, or people have talked about us fighting, and we've almost looked as though we were going to get matched up in the past. Now it's finally happening. So he's the right guy at the right time. He's the number 2 guy in the world, I think. So this fight, a win over Dustin Poirier, puts me right back in the title hunt, and that's the goal. So we'll see.
NDP, last one for you, my brother. When you look at this fight, and I know you spoke about a lot of things, right? You're big. You could fight at 170. They had some big fights on the horizon up there. I didn't know if you wanted to go back down to 155, but why back at 155? And what does this fight mean to you, Dustin, outside of beating Michael Chandler, a guy that said some things away from you that you approach in person? What does this fight do for Dustin Poirier at this point in his career?
It gets me back on track. I've never lost 2 fights in a row in my career, from the amateur days till now. And I don't plan on starting November 12th. It's just part of my legacy. Another world champion added to my list of wins. It means a lot for me that I can pick myself up again and show the world that I'm still in this, show myself that I'm still in this. I stack all that on my back, and I love it. And I go into these fights with all of that.
Let me tell you something, fellas. UFC 281, November 12th from Madison Square Garden is going to be crazy. And I'm going to be there next to the octagon calling a fight that I consider 2 friends. Both of you guys are tremendous fathers, husbands, and men. But I do love that there's a little bit of anger between the two because y'all going to try to rip each other's heads off. Not very rarely, guys, do people get this excited for a fight that isn't a title fight or in the co-main event, main event of a fight card. But the moment this one was announced, the world went crazy, and rightfully so. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dustin Poirier down in Lafayette, Louisiana, Michael Chandler in his beautiful home in Tennessee, ready to fight UFC 281 on November 12th. Make sure you guys always catch DC and RC every Tuesday. And hey, now we're on ESPN 2, midnight Eastern. Check us out. Fellas, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, DC.